Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, viewers. We have today one of the very important guests in our studio, and she is Huma Baqai, a known figure in Pakistan and even outside Pakistan. She is a political analyst, she is a defense analyst, and she has got many things, on her merits. So, Huma Baqai, thank you very much.
Thank you for
giving this time to us. There is a lot of tension between the United States and Iran, and the world is full of fear because there might be something, and there might be a war. But today, when I'm talking to you, there is a calm. It seems the de-escalation actually slowly is going to take place.
Yes.
What will be your comment?
So my comment will be fairly simple. In fact, even when the tensions were at its height, Sahab, I was asked, my opinion was sought by many, and I categorically said that this has to stop. This has to de-escalate. Because you see, this particular option of killing or eliminating General Soleimani was also given to two previous presidents. It was an offer, it was a suggestion or one of the options given to President Obama, and it was also given to President Bush.
I see.
But it was one of those extreme options that usually presidents choose not to exercise. And when Trump chose to exercise this option that was given to him and had him eliminated, there was a lot of skepticism even inside the United States, and also an element of surprise. And thirdly, most importantly, I think the Democrats immediately rejected it and criticized it. Moreover, the Iraqis rejected it. The Saudis rejected it. Because it was said, and this was stated very categorically by the Iraqi foreign minister on the floor of the House, that we were looking at Soleimani to mend fences between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and they actually called it a political assassination. And of course, Trump came under a lot of criticism from all his allies not to pursue it any further. And also, I would also add that I think Iran exercised a lot of strategic restraint in responding to it. So, first of all, they did not go to the proxy option. They chose to retaliate directly. But at the same time, they were conscious of inflicting the kind of damage that would not hurt United States to a point where this was escalate further. This particular sentiment was reciprocated by Trump. So I think the speech that he made yesterday, I called it the call of end of conflict. And
you call the end of the conflict?
End of conflict.
But at the same time, I would like to ask that whatever the action Mr. Trump has taken, he has not taken the Congress into confidence nor Senate into confidence. It was a few people, eight in number, gang of 8 actually, who advised him actually to kill.
That's what I'm saying. That it was not well received.
Yes. No, but the institutions, according to the Constitution, the institutions must be taken into confidence.
But Trump is known for that. Trump bypasses institutional. He's a realist. He uses institutions selectively. So that's precisely what he did. So I'm not surprised by what he did or how he did it. But I am actually relieved that he did not carry on with the hawkish attitude because of lack of reception from everywhere. And also the fact that, you see, I was in Manama a few months ago, the Manama dialogue on the Middle Eastern politics. And in that, all the Middle Eastern powers and all the European powers categorically said one thing, that yes, Iran is a problem, but the strategy that we have right now is not working, and Iran is inflicting pain through proxy wars.
No, this is the question, I would like to ask, because you are an analyst and you have been moving, different parts of the world to participate international, conferences. Why Iran is called as a pain in the neck, or why Iran is called?
I think that
what's the reason?
That is the history.
How about the other there are so many countries which are playing proxies?
I think there is a historical baggage. It is how United States has done regime engineering in several countries, and the regime engineering that the United States did in Iran was successful for a while when we had Shah of Iran, who was the darling of the West. And he came through in American maneuvering and manipulation, where the democratic process was sabotaged But eventually, I think this regime engineering went wrong, and there was a reaction. The Iranian Revolution happened, and when the Iranian Revolution happened and Iran became a theocratic state, it also raised the how do you say, the sensitivities or the insecurities in the Arab world, particularly of Saudi Arabia, because the rise of the Shiite is something they are not very comfortable with. But so many years down the lane, I think the realization is dawning in the Arab world, especially within Saudi Arabia, that this is not working.
But Huma, this Saudi Arabia has been always, being protected by the United States. The founding man, King Abdulaziz and Roosevelt, they had an agreement that the security of this Saudi kingdom lies with the United States, and in return they gave all benefit of the
basis,
oil. Yes, and basis. So how you think about that? That Saudi Arabia is threatened, and moreover,
Saudi Arabia was threatened. That is why,
in what way?
In the sense that when they helped us with the Afghan war, the Afghan jihad against the Soviets, one target was also the Iranian Revolution. So the whole sort of project Wahhabism was a product of Saudi Arabian insecurity, which had global reach, and especially in countries like Pakistan that had proximity to Iran. And we all paid a very huge cost of it. In my growing years, and perhaps you also don't remember that we ever experienced the kind of toxic sectarianism that emerged after the 80s, which was a byproduct of Wahhabism, the project Wahhabism that Soviet Union sort of mounted globally. But what I'm saying is that coming fast forward to the present situation, I think there are some decent developments that have happened. Sanity has prevailed, and the letter that both United States of America and Iran have written to the United Nations speaks about engagement, speaks about peace, speaks about moving forward. And I think Iran is also suffering terribly because of these sanctions. Most depleting financial sanctions have been implemented in Iran. They have strangulated the Iranian economy, and in spite of the fact that it's an oil-rich country, gas-rich country, oil-rich country. Despite that, they are struggling financially. In fact, I think the Iranian race is a very, very resilient people that they have put up.
Very old civilization.
Very old civilization, very politically mature, very resilient, having the patience to wait out American arrogance, reacting and retaliating where they could, building up an infrastructure where they could retaliate to this outside the soil of Iran. You see, this particular general, what was he known for? He was known for fighting the Iranian war away from the Iranian soil. That was sort of, that was what he was famous for.
This is what, Huma Baqai, I'm sorry. We have a great respect for you, but this is the propaganda of the West. And
this is not a propaganda of the West. It has actually,
Iran has their own interest.
They have their own interest.
What happened in Yemen?
They have been able to protect those interests.
Yes.
You see, when Saudi Arabia initiated the Yemen war, they thought it would be over in days.
Yes.
It's been a year now.
Yes.
They stand defeated in Syria.
Yeah.
They stand defeated in Iraq itself.
By the way, who was responsible, initiating the war and regime change in Syria? Was it not Saudi Arabia and the United States?
You see, what you need to understand is that when you talk in retrospect, you can say all of that. I think
even that is relevant when we are talking about the situation at present. That is relevant. We must talk about Syria.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because so these failures has probably compelled President Trump to exercise restraint and not go for a tit for tat. You see, this could have escalated into a very serious situation if post the attack on the Iraq on American bases, US may have opted for actually attacking Iran directly. And our understanding is that certain allies were contacted for it, including Pakistan. And every single country that is an American ally, including the Brits, counseled the United States not to go into direct confrontation with Iran.
So, but what will be your comment that Iraqi parliament actually has asked the United States to leave, the forces which are
which is now being fudged, and there's some damage control on that particular statement. But Agha Sahab, that tells us one thing very, very crucial. One, Iraq is a Shia country now. Two, Iran stands supported there. And three, and more important, perhaps the most important, is that United States should not do the mistake of starting a conflict on unfriendly land. Something that they did in Afghanistan.
They did, but
the lessons that need to be learned is that, you know, Pompeo had tweeted, if I may continue, Pompeo had tweeted the day after this person was eliminated that there is dancing in Iraq. Or there's celebration in Iraq. It was a lie.
It was a lie.
It was a total lie.
There was celebration in Saudi Arabia, there was celebration in Israel.
Israel, but
yes,
not in Iraq.
No, yes.
Iraq.
It was
And you know, for Saudi Arabia also, Saudi Arabia categorically said that we were not informed about this. We as an ally.
When their own institutions like Congress.
Yes.
And like
so as an ally, being a regional ally. You see, Saudi Arabia is a regional ally. So being a most important regional ally, we were neither consulted nor informed. So in some ways this was indicative of Saudi Arabia's non-support for this particular action.
Now my last question
I personally think, just to end this, I don't think this particular action of eliminating this person had support from anywhere. Soleimani. And this is something US had done after Second World War.
Yes.
They had never done anything like this.
No, tell me, this is the last question. Do you think this de-escalation, which you have so nicely actually has depicted, will last, or there will be another, escalation?
Well, it largely depends on how Iran responds. I would like to think that Iran is also looking for engagement. Iran had accommodated a very difficult deal with the West, the nuclear deal that it went into. And Iran did not back out. United States backed out unilaterally.
Yes.
And like I said earlier when I was in Manama, a lot of Middle Eastern experts and politicians actually said that it was the US mistake to disengage itself. And right now, Iran did two things. The first thing Iran did was Iran retaliated. The second thing Iran did was it said we are going to go back to enrichment of uranium.
This is what they said, yes.
And I think that is going to ring a lot of bells. That is going to raise a lot of red flags everywhere. And I think President Trump also in his speech pointed out towards that. He said we will never let Iran become a nuclear power. But for that to happen, they would have to engage in diplomacy and engagement itself. So I think there is a desire on both sides to engage. Both sides have learned their lessons. There is a conflict fatigue, and look at the way the stock exchanges have sort of responded to it. So the European stock exchange has gone up, the Pakistan stock exchange has gone up as soon as it was sort of factored in that de-escalation has happened. So I think the overall sentiment is not pro-war, it's not pro-conflict, and for our generations, for the peace of the world, we hope to God that this is sustainable.
Thank you, Huma Baqai. Thank you very much for a beautiful interview you have given. And viewers, Dr. Huma Baqai's perception about the conflict between the United States and Iran, she has very well actually said that peace is the desire of the entire world. And if there is a peace, there will be development. Thank you very much.